Hello, welcome to Dungeon Dwellers Podcast. I'm your host, Justin. Today, for our latest Christmas month review, we're reviewing the 1992 superhero movie Batman Returns, starring Michael Keaton as Batman, Danny DeVito as Penguin, Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman, Christopher Walken as Max Schreck, Michael Goh as Alfred, Pat Hingle returns as Commissioner Gordon, and for like minor characters, you have Vincent Schiavelli as the organ grinder. You'll know him from like he was in that one James Bond movie. I think it's The World Is Not Enough. And you have Paul Rubens, Pee Wee Herman as Penguin's father, and Doug Jones is in the movie as one of the Penguin's henchmen. And you also have Sean Whalen as the Paperboy. Sean Whalen, you'll know from like movies like what was it called? The People Under the Stairs, and he was in Twister, and he was in Free from Hell. I haven't seen that movie yet. Yeah. So this is a Christmas movie for people who don't know. Well, you probably do know because everybody's talking about this movie this year. Even though I was planning on doing this movie for Christmas month like a month ago, everybody just started talking about it this year for some fucking reason. But it's okay. Yeah. So this movie is, I would say, what's great about this movie, it doesn't feel like a sequel. It has its own like standalone movie feel to it. It's been a long time since I watched this movie, by the way. This is the first time I watched it since I was a kid. Which as a kid, I didn't really like these Batman movies, but now as an adult, I really enjoy them. There's like a fantastical element to this movie, which is really great. Which is just completely gone in the fucking Nolan movies, which Nolan movies are good, but it just seems a little, it's more ridiculous in my eyes, where you have a realistic Batman than if you have like a more fantastical Batman. Because like honestly, superheroes to me, like a lot of people, they belong in the science fiction genre, but to me they're like modern day fantasy because it's just like the idea like somebody like Batman could fight alongside like somebody like Superman and isn't 100% completely useless. It's just like it's just like asinine to be honest, right? Yeah, so the story of this movie is, it's an origin story for Penguin and Catwoman, and this is a movie where like they have three villains at once, and usually in superhero movies where they try to tackle three villains at once, it usually ends up as a complete fucking failure. Like movies, for example, like Batman and Robin, which had Poison Ivy. What's fuck. Who did Arnold Schwarzenegger play again? Mr. Freeze. And like, what was you had Bane in that one. Was there another third villain in that movie? Whatever. You had those three. You had Spider-Man 3, which was fucking awful, with Venom, the new Green Joker, and Sandman, which that movie was only supposed to be a Sandman movie, but the fucking studios wanted to do Venom, wanted to do the Black Suit arc, which was one of my favorite arcs in the cartoon, but they just completely fucking ruined it, because like Sam Raimi obviously did not give a shit about Venom. He just wanted to do like the 60s fucking Spider-Man shit. But yeah, like this movie, they did the villains great in this movie, which the third villain in this movie, besides Catwoman and Penguin, is Max Schreck, which is played by Christopher Walken, who's great in this fucking movie. Wow, holy shit, the budget was 80 million. Oh, that makes sense. Also, you have music by Danny Elfman, obviously. Yeah, so like Max Schreck, I don't think he's from the comics. There is a villain named Maxie Zeus, which I know nothing about that fucking character. So if he's inspired by Maxie Zeus, I have no fucking idea. Yeah. So the movie starts off in the past, where like Pee Wee Herman and his wife give birth to a baby that's basically a freak. It's Christmas morning. They have the baby locked up in this like cage with wheels, and like you see like like with wheels at the bottom, and like you see like the baby like there's a cat hanging around it, and the baby like takes the fucking cat into the cage and fucking eats it. Which I don't know if that was supposed to be a metaphor in the movie, because because obviously Catwoman is in the movie, so I have no idea if that was supposed to have some deeper meaning. I don't think so. But yeah, what ends up happening is they decide to abandon the baby in the sewers, and somehow the baby survives. Hollywood God, R.I.P. because he stopped making videos. Said like the Penguin in this movie is supposed to be a combination of mutant leader and Killer Croc's origin story. I don't know if that's true, because I don't really know both those characters' origin stories. I know like people say that the Batman movies were inspired by Batman Returns and Batman Year One or something like that. So is there some truth to that? I don't know. But yeah, after that, it's 33 years later, which is like, obviously that's some Christian symbolism, because Jesus Christ was 33 when he died, and it's also like a Freemason. Like, it's a Freemason number for people who don't like. There's a scene where Bruce Wayne goes to the masquerade to meet up with Selena Kyle, who's Catwoman, who's the love interest in this movie, and like Christopher Walken's character's there, and he has this like huge mask on, and there's the pyramid with the eye in the middle on his forehead for his mask, and it's like that's obviously a Freemason like symbol. So yeah, there's some Freemason shit. Maybe the 33 had nothing to do with Jesus Christ, and this being like a Christmas movie taking place at Christmas. That could just be a Freemason fucking thing, which they do say it's Christmas and the end of the movie, like the final act, right? Yeah. So yeah, after that, Penguin it's modern day. Penguin runs this gang, which is called the Red Triangle Circus Gang, which has like Oregon Grinder has the Poodle Lady, which the dog is great, because there's like two scenes with the dog where like it drops off a grenade into a fucking store, and like Batman has this special batarang where like he'll put in like how many targets into it and it'll hit everybody, but the dog catches it like at the end. Which it's used later on in the movie to frame Batman. Yeah. So what ends up happening is you have Max Schreck, who's this industrialist character, has plans to make a power plant that's actually sucking out power from the city. Who later on teams up with Penguin to get him to run for mayor so he can replace the mayor who doesn't want the power plant, because obviously like there's something fishy going on, because the city produces way too much power, more power than they need. So why do we need this massive power plant, right? Yeah, so like Selena Kyle is his secretary, which she's like a dead Ager like chick. She's socially awkward. She discovers, she goes into his computer to get some private files and finds out about his plans, which doesn't realize that, oh shit, she fucked up. She tells her boss this, and her boss kills her, and then she gets resurrected by like by cats. Hence, like Catwoman here is a supernatural kind of character, which they did in that fucking which they did again in that 2005 Halle Berry movie, which I never watched. It's funny, I bought like a memory card for my PS2, and it was obviously a used one, and it had like the only fucking, it wasn't empty. There was only one save file on there, and it was for the fucking Catwoman fucking game. Sorry, I'm about to have breakfast, so I was just chewing on a little piece of bread. Yeah, so yeah, there's a lot of sexual, and because the Catwoman's very sexy outfit, which is very I thought it was latex, but according to the behind the scenes, it's actually rubber. Like, it's like stitched to, like in the movie it's supposed to be like stitched together like vinyl or leather, but it's like a rubber outfit that she wears that's all stitched together. Looks great. It's supposed to, you would assume there was some inspiration for the costume by Fritz the Cat, whose like image is throughout the movie. No, the art designer said he got the idea from looking at a German sculpture. Yeah, there's a lot of sexual innuendo and sexual jokes in the movie, which is kind of, I feel, is a little inappropriate for a movie that's supposed to be like for kids. Like, what's the movie rated? Oh, the movie's rated 14A. But I'm sure back in the day it was rated PG, because you know these movies were basically toy commercials for the. I think I used the wrong cup. Never mind. Sorry, I was using a Dixie cup, and I had a dirty one and I had a clean one, and I filled up the dirty one. It's like, fuck, I should clean this fucking room. If you're wondering what my room looks like, look up 4chan gamer rooms, and that's pretty much what it is. I have like DVDs stacked against the wall because I have no more room on my shelf. Fuck. Yeah. Yeah, this movie is basically a great movie. You have like the cool 1920s gothic aesthetic throughout the movie. You have the Red Triangle circus gang. All their members are wearing like old 1930s costumes, which look great. Like the Batmobile looks great as well. Like there's a scene where it turns into like an old 1920s style like hot rod, because you know Batman needs to get through like this like finesse alley as he's getting chased from the cops, because there's a scene where like Penguin the Penguin like hacks into the Batmobile, which is a funny scene where like the Red Triangle gang disassembles and reassembles it to make it into like a remote control car for the Penguin. And that scene in the movie is fucking fantastic, because it's like it's pretty much like Grand Theft Auto. The Penguin's playing Grand Theft Auto, and he has like this mini like Batmobile Batmobile like remote control thing. Like it's almost like an old, like, you've ever seen like those old like arcades. It's pretty much like that. Yeah, the movie, it's just like it's just a great movie, dude. Like, it's very fantastical. The acting was great, though. Like, there's like a couple scenes I'm not a fan of, like when Bruce Wayne is returns from his fight with his first fight with Catwoman, and there's the infamous scene where she's filling up his like costume, is looking for a weak point, punctures him. He's at home, while still wearing the mask, the cowl. Right, he breaks his Batman character and calls up Alfred, asking him, hey, to bring up some antiseptic ointment, which is used to stop bleeding. Right, and like that, I kind of did not like that. I kind of would prefer, hey, stay in character, stay in your Batman character while you're fucking, wearing the mask. And there's also a scene where he just rips off the cowl off, right? Which is like, if it was that easy to take to rip off the cowl, not just, he didn't just like put it over his head. No, he just rips it off at the end of the movie. Which, it's like, come on, how could it be that easy to rip it off? It's because it's supposed to be like body armor, right? So I did not like that. And obviously, he has the black paint around his eyes, and like when he takes it off, it's like gone. Which that doesn't really bother me, because that's like an artistic choice. And I really like the black eyes, the black paint around the eyes. I know people say, hey, it's like, it's kind of impractical when he starts sweating and that shit would get into his eyes, but I don't know, I think it looks great, though. I would kind of like a Batman movie where they would try the pupilless eyes, like, they just put like glass, like goggles or whatever over the eyes, kind of like how he looks like in the comic books, where he has the pupilless eyes. But we'll probably never get that in the movie, because one, it would probably look stupid. Like, it works in Deadpool and Spider-Man movies, because those are part comedies. There's some funny scenes in this movie too, but like, yeah, but like, Batman should always be serious. Like, if you want to have the comedy scenes with Batman, it should be in like, with Bruce Wayne. Which there's a lot of awkward like scenes between like Bruce Wayne and Selina Kyle, and even with Batman and Catwoman, which would remind me of my favorite Batman graphic novel, Batman Prey, where he first encounters fucking Catwoman, and like he's chasing after her, and like he keeps like tripping over himself because he's so horny for like fucking Catwoman. Which is, if you haven't read Batman Prey, it's by Doug Moench, is the writer who created Moon Knight, which is like Marvel's like crazy fucking Batman ripoff, which I want to fucking read the comics for, but it's like super fucking expensive. And I read the David Finch, not David Finch, he's the writer. No, sorry, the artist. So who wrote, whatever, I have a Moon Knight graphic novel which has David Finch's art, which looks fucking fantastic, but the writing is kind of shitty. Maybe I'll review it someday. Yeah, I want to review more Moon Knight shit, but yeah, I only have the one graphic novel, and like, yeah, and the omnibuses for Moon Knight are like $100, like tops online, which I could probably get cheaper if they have it at the comic book shop, which they don't. Yeah, so let's wrap up the review. So you have great acting, great action, lots of Christmas stuff throughout the movie, so it definitely has that Christmas feel, especially in that like subplot where the Penguin's looking for his parents. Well, critique I have. Like, you know, Batman was somewhat sympathetic to like the Penguin when like where like he's like watching him on TV and he's like, oh, I hope he's the Penguin's telling this sob story where he just wants to find his parents, and he's like, oh, I hope he finds his parents, right? Because like obviously Christmas time would be a rough time for Batman because, you know, him being like an orphan throughout most of his life, and like, you know, Christmas is about like spending time with your family, not just giving gifts to people, right? But like immediately after that, like he starts looking into like literally the next thing he starts looking into like Penguin. He's like, this guy's fishy, right? Something's up. Which obviously somebody who looks like that is probably going to be a bad guy in a fucking superhero movie, right? So like, yeah, if I were to give this movie a rating, I was gonna give it a 9 out of 10. Which I'm kind of pissed off. This movie only has like a 7 out of 10 on IMDb, but I'm gonna give it an 8.5 out of 10. I thought the movie is great, but it does have, you know, I do have some slight critiques for the movie. But yeah, this movie is great. Everybody should watch it during the Christmas time. It's like, if you're a fan, because like, let's be real, like there are people like who, the Christmas comes around and they feel like they have to watch Christmas movies, but they don't want to actually watch Christmas movies because, in my opinion, Christmas movies suck. So like, yeah, they watch like Christmas horror movies, which if you're not like, which a lot of the Christmas horror movies suck, in my opinion. Like, I just watched Elves this fucking year, which I didn't even bother reviewing because I'm like, fuck this. This is not worth anybody's fucking time for me to fucking review it. But yeah, like, that's why people like movies like Die Hard and superhero movies like this, because like it kind of cheats, where it's kind of a Christmas movie but not really. Yeah, so like, I love this movie. Check it out. I reviewed the Blu-ray copy, by the way, so I don't know if it's any different than the other versions. But yeah, that's all I have to say for this movie review. Tomorrow I'm gonna be reviewing the Christmas episode for Gintama, which is like episode 30 something. I'll find out like later today, and for the weekend we're gonna be reviewing Black Christmas Original and Black Christmas 2006 Remake. All right, peace.